Good morning, YouTube. This is Kirby, and I'm saying good morning because a portion of this film I started last night. It'll be in the flashbacks. Alright, but hey, I'm doing a brisket. I'm doing a brisket today, and I'm doing it on my Gateway drum smoker. Brisket really hasn't been my strong game in the in competition. There's only been one time I've done really well in brisket, and that was when I was doing backyard, and then our second competition I came in 5th place in brisket. Since then, brisket just has been my nemesis, and so I have a Gateway, and so I want to I have one more competition coming up for this year, 2021. So I want to start practicing and getting things ready. So this video is going to be more about me just trying to cook a brisket on a Gateway drum smoker than the so-called recipe. But last night, and here's where I insert the flashback, I did take the brisket. I made my injection. I used a combination of 2 different commercial competition injections, and I mixed it with 2 cups of beef broth and shucked that up in my little shaker and set it to the side. I got my brisket out, and I went on and trimmed it up and shaped it up the way I want it to be for when I do a competition. And then lastly, I injected it. Now what I didn't film is I also added some sea salt to it, some really big granules of sea salt, and some meat tenderizer to it. Now this particular grade, this is a select grade brisket. I know you should get choice and prime, but hey, you know how expensive things are. So just to do a practice cook, I didn't want to spend that much money on a practice cook. So this is a select grade of brisket, which brings us back to this morning. Well, now let those things sit. Let the brisket sit in the refrigerator. Now it's time for me to season it. I'm going to apply my rubs. Then after I apply my rubs, I'm going to like the Gateway, get it started, and then that'll give the rubs some time to absorb into the meats a little bit. It's only going to take about an hour and a half before I put it on the Gateway. Alright, I'm also doing another brisket, and this one's going to go on a 270. I didn't film anything for that one because that was going to be sort of like a backyard brisket, but with the exception of the injection, I did trim it. I didn't do an aggressive trim as I did the competition brisket. I put some sea salt on it and some meat tenderizer, and then I sat in the refrigerator overnight too. And I'm not really trying to do a compare whether or not the 270 is going to be better than the drum. I'm going to cook them on 2 different cookers today because I'm also doing some catering. Alright, with that being said, I'm going to pause the video, get my camera set up so you can see me season the brisket that I trimmed up last night. Alright. Okay, here is my brisket sliding down, and what I'm going to do now is go ahead and apply my smear. I do have a thin layer of mustard on it already, and what I want to do is go ahead and put on my salt and pepper base, which in this case is going to be Cosmos Q's Texas beef, and then Plowboy's bovine. And I'm going to give it a good pat. And that's it for the bottom. I'm going to flip it over. Some mustard on this side. Now, what I explained in my video in the segment last night, depending on how I did this, this has a big old gash right here, so it's going to affect the presentation of it if it was an actual competition brisket, but it's a practice, so I'm not too worried about it today. And like I said, it's really just to see about cooking the brisket on the gateway. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and same thing, hit it with my salt and pepper base. Then on the top I'm going to add another seasoning, 2 Chupacabras Brisket Magic. I'm gonna try to squeeze it in. And what I may do, try to help it hold its shape, is put some ties around it. I don't know, but anyway, that's it. I think I go, you know, just for giggles, I'm gonna put a top layer of the bovine on it. All right, there we go. That's basically it. I'm gonna set it to the side, let it sit, give it a chance to get its spices a chance to absorb into the meat, and then I'm gonna go outside and light the drum. Now I'm gonna go ahead and do the point, and it's gonna be the same process, so you don't need them showing that. All right. So the next time you see this, it's going on, well, probably when I go like the drum. So stick around, okay? All right, let's get it out of its storage mode. Let's go ahead and take out the baffle. Go ahead and set it on this side. And my grapes. Here I have a Weber lighter cube. I'll take the basket out just so it'll be easier to see, because won't be that much light inside. But set the lighter cube there. And I'm just gonna do it like that there. Put it back in the drum. Oh. You can just call me Hot Hand Luke. And there we go. Hopefully you can see that in the shot. All right, and they say once it gets to the size of a softball, go ahead and close the lid. Now, I didn't play much baseball coming up, so I don't know what the size of a safe baseball is, but I'll just wait, and then once it gets to what I think is a good diameter fire, I'll go ahead and shut her down. All right. All right. Now the flame has died out, so I'm gonna take that as my indication to go ahead and get her to close down. I have a chunk of cherry. Hope you can see this nice, pretty red wood, and a chunk of hickory that I'm gonna put in. I'm gonna go ahead and put in my grapes. I'm gonna go ahead and just give you an overview, and hopefully this will shine, because I know it's kind of dark out here. I think I'm good putting put this weight on the bottom. Go ahead and put a water pan in. Then we're going to add just 1 bottle of purified water. Put the top grate on. I ain't go ahead and put the lid on. Let's bring it back so. Suck in my gut. Now, I have my intakes. I hopefully set to when we get 300 degrees. I have the exhaust wide open. Hey, Caterpillar, I think you don't want to be here. You're going to get fried, my buddy. Fried, my friend. And try to spare your life. All right, go. Okay. So, once it gets to about 240, about 240, I'm going to go ahead and throw the meat on. And then hopefully let it ride up to 300 and stay there. All right. Oh, what's the best light? Okay. So again, I'm still trying to figure this gateway drum out. Haven't really cooked on it a lot, and I'm just trying to figure it out. My 270 is, I know how to do it. It's reliable. No problems with it. Again, I'm not trying to do a comparison video, so I'm just saying I'm just more familiar with the 270. I can set it, forget it, and know what it's going to do. Whereas with this, I'm still with the gateway, and one, because I haven't cooked on it a lot. I really haven't. Outside of, I think my last competition was back in April, I think it was, up in Hagerstown Interstate. Oh, and we got we won the Wild Child in that for pork. So, and I cooked the pork on the gateway that day. Yeah, I cooked the pork on the gateway. So, it came in. It's Wild Child is Wild Child. For those of you who are not familiar with competition, in KCBS, at least on the East Coast, I don't know if they do it anywhere else. On the East Coast, Mid-Atlantic area, let me even narrow it down more specifically. They do a drawing called Wild Child, whereas the team that comes in the 11th place, and they'll pick a meat category, and the team that comes in the 11th place, there's a little pot, and like each team would donate would put in whatever amount is, $10, $20, whatever it is. The team would put in that. The teams will put in, who wants to participate in, will put in that amount of money, and the team that comes in 11th place at that in that meat category wins the Wild Child. So at that particular event, we came in 11th place for pork, and we won, which was more than what it was given out that day for first place. And so sometimes winning the Wild Child is great. You end up winning more money there. And to give you a little toilet trophy, maybe I'll insert a picture of it right about here. But that's it. But anyway, so since April, I really haven't cooked on it. I think it was April. Yeah, April. I haven't cooked on my drums since April. So this is the first cook since April of this year that I've done. Not my first cook, but the next cook I've had, because I had some other cooks on. So I just got to get used to it. And I have one last competition coming up at the end in November. And that's going to make or break me, whether or not I continue to do competition or not. If I don't do too well in it. I know one is I don't compete enough. I don't get out there enough. And of course, it's expensive. So trying to get out every weekend, riding on your own dime, at least for me, it's difficult. And so, and even a few times I do compete out of the year, I'm not really placing well. So if I was placing well, I would say if I was coming in the middle of the sheet, then I'll be somewhat satisfied, because I know I don't compete a lot. So in my head, I'm thinking, well, if I can at least get middle of the sheet, I'll be okay. And middle of the sheet, I'm just referring to the score sheet that you're even though you may not be in the top tier, at least the second tier of the scoring. And so, and at least this year, I haven't been doing that. So I'm like, okay, well, it's too expensive, and I'm not doing all that great. So I need to keeping it up. It's wasting, as my wife would say, it's wasting money. So we'll see. If in Kentucky I don't do too well, I'll probably just call it quits on doing competitions, sell the drums, and focus more on catering, really pumping that up, and doing some vending or something in 2022. Well, I do got to do one more competition in 2022, because I was supposed to do the dirty boots and barbecue, but I had to pull out. So I can either do interstate or dirty boots again next year. So I may do that. I know I'm just rambling right now. All right, let me go and stop this part. Next time I come back out, I'll be putting the meats on the drum. All right, the drum is about at 250 right now. That's another issue I've been having with trying to figure out when to put my meat on. So if you have a gateway drum smoker and there's a specific temperature you're supposed to put the meat on, let me know in the comments below. All right, but it's 250. I'm gonna go ahead and put the brisket on now, and hopefully that will keep me at 300 throughout the entirety of the cook. I do know you don't want to keep the lid off for too long. The water pan, I want to get you directly over it. Okay, it's all right. All right, you see the water pan? I'm gonna start with the flat on that side. Okay. And I have a little shim. I think the shim should go to the front. Maybe not. No, that is the little part. Okay. And put the point on this side over the water pan. Now I rotate them every so often. All right, so I'm going to close it down. And that's my intake, so hopefully that'll keep me at 300 throughout this cook. I'm hoping. All right. Okay, YouTube, it's been a little over an hour since I put the briskets on the gateway. So let's go ahead and check it. And all I want to do is just spin the rack. Most of you who watch gateway videos, you know about that process. All right. So let's take a gander. Don't want to try to keep it open for too long, but that's how we're looking. Got some cooling on the and you can see it and puffed up from the heat. So I'm just gonna spin it. Okay. And I need put a little bit more water in the pan. So I'm gonna get this back on. All right, it's been about another hour since it's been about another hour. So I'm gonna do a temperature check and we're gonna spin it. cooking out. How that looking to y'all? All right. Let's go and get a temperature check on this. Make sure it's in Fahrenheit. All right, it's hitting 169 and a point and a flat, 190 and a point. All right, so it's ready to wrap. So I'm not going to spin it. I'm going to hold it, then I'm going to get ready to wrap it. Let's check them. All right, what I'm about to do now, sorry I'm off camera, but I'm about to pan the brisket, and I'm going to try to speak loud enough so y'all can hear me doing everything. I'm gloving up, and then I got to fight the flies, man. That's the only part I hate about being outside. All right, let me get the brisket off. Now for the take this off. I'm gonna go this way with it. This is stubs and beef broth strained, and I'm gonna do the same thing. Just pour a little bit. I don't. I'm just go around it on this one because I don't want my. I'm gonna try to protect my bark. So I'm gonna make a little envelope. Going to pour that in, pour about a half a cup in. Two-ply it. We're going to repeat the same process with the point, and so I'll be back after it's all said and done. All right. Mistake I left the lid off. Now it's too hot. Gotta remember that. Alright YouTube, I'm sorry. I've been real busy and forgot to turn the camera on a couple of times. But when we last left off, the drum had got real hot because I left the lid, the gateway had got real hot because I left the lid off for too long. So what I ended up doing, putting the lid back on, shutting the valves down, intakes down, and putting the brisket, the foil brisket back on. And I just let that go for about an hour and a half. When I came back out, I seen that the temps had dropped really low, but I probed the brisket and it turned out to be tender, and it's currently sitting in the oven just waiting to be sliced. So I apologize for all that. The brisket on the 270 just came off, and I threw that into the Cambro too. So that's what's been going on. Sorry for the delay, but for the most part, looks like the brisket on the gateway, at least appearance wise, it looked really good. And so we'll see how it slices up in about an hour or so. Alright, so I gotta come back in. Okay, YouTube, this is the brisket that was on the gateway, and so what I'm gonna do is take it out for a foil, transfer it to this pan, and add just another layer of rub so that can tack up on it, and also transfer some of y'all juice to it. So here's what it's looking like. I hope you can see that. Go ahead. Put it in there. And go ahead and dump the juices in here. So that's the point. Get the flat out. That's the flat. Here's the point. I'm sorry. Let me get that in there. Hope you can see that. Ah, that's super tender. Almost broken in half. Really overcooked that. It should make for some good burn-ins if I was going to do them. Alright. So that I have one layer of flavor, what I want to do is put some more rub on the top of it. And let me go get that. Alright. And I'm just going to give it a covering of this. Let this tack up on it. Alright, and it's just some Cosmos Q's 30 Bird Hot. Going to put this back in the oven. Let that rub that I just put on tack back up on it. And then we're going to slice into it and give it a taste test. Alright, stay tuned. Alright. Let's see how this brisket turned out. I'm going to go ahead and start with the point. Cutting against the grain. And I'm not going to be making burnt ends out of this. But let's look at it. Alright. Looks like most of the intermuscular fat rendered down. Good pull. Let's see what kind of taste we got. Well, it's not bad for a select. Now imagine if I had a choice or a prime or a wagyu. This is not bad. All right. I gotta. Alright, this one ain't bad. I like that. The point turned out great. Flat, got a point. Let's try this flat. Looks like I may have went a little too over on the flat because it's real crumbly. Yeah, that's way over. I can hardly put that two together. Let's see if I can get this person to. That's a good one. That's a good slice. But it's way over. And yeah, see, like it's way over. But let's give it a taste test. It turned out great. Even though it's a select, it got some real good flavor to it. I like it, man. I just wish I just got to pay more attention to the time. This is way too crumbly. I'm going to put a little bit of RG in here. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. That is great. That's some good tasting brisket right there. Man. That turned out great. It really did, man. Moisture content. I mean, it didn't have no intramuscular fat, but it's coming off really moist. I just want to get this person a few more slices. You know, I met my quota. Okay, so there you go. All right, that one turned out great. All right. Hey, eat that. That was good. Some kind of good. Well, I got stuff I got to package up, but it turned out great. The one on the Gateway, this Gateway drum smoker, it got the right. Now, I like pep. I like having it. I like for my brisket to have a peppery taste to it, and it does. Then you get that kind of open pit flavor from cooking on the drum, which just turned out great. Now I just got some things I got to tweak to make it absolutely great for competition. Making sure I put that lid back on as soon as I take it off. I mean, as soon as I'm finished done with that, I need to do put that lid back on. But this brisket turned out, man, I love the taste of this thing, man. Wow. It's so freaking, man, it's good. It's good. It's good. Hey, like I said, I got some stuff I gotta start packaging up stuff for people to pick up. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up. And leave a comment below. If you have any suggestions or things I can do better cooking on a gateway drum smoker, leave it down below. Again, I apologize for not recording every little thing. When I'm doing my little catering stuff, I get sidetracked, which is why I don't. Same thing like at a comp. You just get so busy doing other stuff you forget to turn the camera on. But anywho, let me finish wrapping this stuff up. The person's going to be here shortly, and so I can get them on the road. All right, y'all take care. If you like what you saw, please subscribe, share it with a friend, and gentlemen, light your pits, fire for effect.